The AFC in 2022 is about to be ultra competitive, which means there's going to be teams that underwhelm. There are going to be teams that do not reach their high expectations. And the one team that I view as a team that the media loves, that's had a great offseason, that their fans have all these aspirations and hopes, but ultimately this team will come up short. That team, I'm telling you right now, is going to be the Miami Dolphins. The Miami Dolphins are going to disappoint this season. Adam Shine of NFL Network claimed that the Miami Dolphins are the surprise Cinderella team of 2022. And this is the vibe for the Dolphins this offseason. Everyone believes that this team is going to elevate, that this team is a lock for second place in the AFC East, that this team is a lock for the playoffs, and that this team has one of the best rosters in the NFL. I mean, it does make sense. It's a logical step from where the Dolphins have been. They have been a perennial in the hunt team the last couple of years. They have been one game away from making the playoffs the last 2 seasons in a row. They had winning records 2 seasons in a row. They added a ton of playmakers. Offensively, they loaded up from the offensive line with Teron Armstead and Connor Williams to the backfield with Chase Edmonds and Raheem Mostert, even a fullback in Alec Ingold, Teddy Bridgewater as a backup quarterback just in case something happens to Tua, and of course, Tyreek Hill, Cedric Wilson, to go along with what you already have in Jalen Waddle and Mike Gesicki. But despite all of these additions, I do not believe in the Miami Dolphins. I do not believe in your team. I do not believe, Dolphins fans, that you guys will rise up and will make the playoffs. But I'm not alone. Neither does Las Vegas. The odds makers in Vegas have kind of been disrespectful to the Miami Dolphins in a lot of ways. They are telling us that the Dolphins are a below average AFC team. Caesars has the Dolphins with a 8.5 win total this season, which would place them 10th in the AFC, tied with the Patriots, tied with the Raiders. 10th in the AFC doesn't follow the narrative. It doesn't follow the hype. It doesn't follow the expectation. It doesn't make a lot of sense. And to be tied with my Patriots team, who I've already come out and said is going to suck this year, that's kind of embarrassing. That's not very good. The win total here for Miami seems like it should be a bit higher. So I got to thinking, why is Vegas so low on the Miami Dolphins? Well, it's actually kind of obvious when you think about it. The Miami Dolphins are not very good in the 2 most important areas that a football team needs to be good to win, to make the playoffs, to have success in the modern NFL: quarterback and coach. The coach is a huge question mark, and Tua has yet to prove that he's the guy. The fact of the matter is that Vegas believes that there are 9 at least AFC teams that have a better chance of making the playoffs, a better chance of winning more games than the Miami Dolphins. And it's all thanks to the quarterback and the coach. Dolphins fans are going to reply, and I'm sure you've already commented, that Miami is a lock for 10 plus wins this year. They won 10 2 seasons ago. They won 9 a year ago in a injury-riddled, quarterback-infested season. And I'm sure you're going to argue that your roster is much stronger coming up into this season than it has been the last couple of seasons. And I would tell you that you are not wrong. That you are not wrong, absolutely. But I'm telling you, the reason the Dolphins are being disrespected is simple. It's because of that coach-quarterback duo. Just look at the AFC. Look at the strength of the quarterback-coach duos in this conference alone, And then think about where Miami ranks. You've got Josh Allen and Sean McDermott in your own division. You've got Lamar Jackson and John Harbaugh. You've got Joe Burrow and Zach Taylor, who just went to the Super Bowl. You've got Deshaun Watson and Stefanski. You've got Matt Ryan and Frank Reich, Ryan Tannehill and Mike Vrabel, Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, Justin Herbert and Brandon Staley, Mac Jones and Bill Belichick, Russell Wilson and Hackett, who's a new coach as well, and Derek Carr and Josh McDaniels. All of these combinations have an argument, and not just an argument, but they are much greater than Miami's top combo. So then you get to thinking that the Dolphins, basically to make the playoffs, basically to exceed their win total of 8.5, they have to play a awesome, well-rounded game. They have to have great defense. They have to have great special teams. They have to run the ball. They need a well-rounded attack and a well-rounded team to win games this year in this loaded AFC, because they are not afforded the luxury of having one of these great quarterback coach combos, which again is so essential to 2022 NFL. They have to do it with a new rookie head coach who has not proven a thing. They have to do it with a young quarterback who has yet to prove he belongs anywhere near the playoffs. On top of that, the Dolphins, I would argue, lost the biggest reason behind their success in recent years, and that's Brian Flores. Brian Flores was a great coach for the Miami Dolphins. Brian Flores was fired, and you would argue he was the most crucial aspect to winning games for the Miami Dolphins in these last couple of seasons. So you go from Brian Flores to Mike McDaniel, and I'm not trying to hate on Mike McDaniel here, but he has yet to prove anything at all as a head coach. We barely know what he is as an offensive mind because Kyle Shanahan is so great that sure, Mike McDaniel's been around him, but what does that really necessarily mean? We have no idea. On top of that, just in general, there was no possible way that Mike McDaniel is going to be a better coach now than Brian Flores would have been this year in his fourth season with the team. He's just more mature, understands the game better, understands the programs better, understands all of it. Like a fourth-year head coach who's had success, who's at the top of his game, entering his prime, is much better than a first-year coach trying to figure everything out. That is inarguable. The Miami Dolphins at 9-8 last year were not a very good team, and I think you can admit that. They were not a 9-8 football team, and even though they beat my team twice, and congratulations, my team wasn't very good either, you were not a very good team. Looking at what you did to get that 9-8 record, who you beat to get that 9-8 record. So suggesting you're going to have to elevate your game is not only looking at 9-8 for what it is, 9-8 on the surface, and then saying, okay, we got to win 2 more games. But you also got to look at the competition played, beaten, and then what you have to play in the future, and how much better you have to be to exceed that 8.5 win total, which I think has a lot to do with why it's only 8.5. Essentially, Vegas is saying that your 9-8 record was sort of a fluke. It was sort of fluky. It sort of won't be replicated. And that you were one of the worst teams in the NFL for about half the season. You won a game at the beginning against the Patriots in New England, a game that you probably don't win if Damian Harris doesn't fumble the ball, but regardless, you win the game. And then you lose a bunch of games in a row. 6, 7 games in a row? And midway through the year, you are one of the worst teams in the league. And you lose only 1 game to end the year. It ends off really well. But who did you play? And who did you beat? And this is exactly why you're not getting the respect from the odds makers. You look at who you beat. The Texans, the Ravens, the Jets, the Panthers, the Giants, the Jets, again, the Saints, all in a row. The only team that was even close to being decent was the Ravens. At least they had Lamar at that time. Even the stats suggest that the Dolphins were an average team and nothing but average, maybe even below average, 22nd in points for, which is nothing impressive at all, and 16th in points against. And this takes me down a rabbit hole of sorts. Because I was thinking, well, in 2021, you were a winning team, 9-8, but you beat a lot of bad teams. You feasted on the weak. So then I got to thinking, well, 2020. Did you do that in 2020? Did you beat good teams in 2020? The last 2 seasons, the Miami Dolphins have not beaten good teams. They rarely have beaten good teams, despite their records being quality records. Meaning that the Miami Dolphins have yet to prove that they can play with the big boys. And ultimately, what it's going to take to be good this year, what it's going to take to reach your expectations this year, what it's going to take for you not to underwhelm this year is for you to actually beat good teams, because you have good teams on your schedule. Some will argue that a lot of this has to do with the fact that Tua wasn't in some of these games, and they would have obviously been better with their starting quarterback. Totally fair. Let's look into the Tua stuff. So Tua was 7-5 in 2021. He is 13-8 in his career. Pretty good record. But despite a pretty impressive record, he has barely played good teams at all in his career. Tua has played 6 above 500 teams in his career and has only beaten 2 of those 6 teams. And what's even more concerning is that when Tua actually plays good teams, he has not played well. He has played bad. Looking at his statistics over the course of the last 2 seasons when playing winning teams, the Buffalo Bills and the Patriots are in division, so 2 divisional opponents and 1 non-divisional opponent in 2021. Obviously, he barely plays in the Buffalo game where they lose 35-0, and he goes 1 for 4, 25% completion, 40 passer rating, 13 yards. Okay, put that one aside, doesn't really count. The next Buffalo game, 26-11, 53% completion, 205 yards, 1 interception, and 1 rushing touchdown. Very below average. The Tennessee Titans, loss, 34-3, 18 for 38, 47% completion, 205 yards, and an interception. Bad. The Patriots games, and even though they beat the Patriots in both games, 17-16 and 33-24, he was average or below average in both games. 59% completion in the first, 202 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 1 rushing touchdown, and a mediocre 79 passer rating. In the second game, they win and score 33 points, and he only passes for 109 yards and a touchdown. So Tua, in his second season, when he played good teams, he suffered. He sucked. He was bad. So we go back to his rookie season. Was it any better in his rookie season? Not exactly. He had okay outings versus Kansas City, but he got slaughtered by the Buffalo Bills in a game that really mattered, and he was terrible. And then the Los Angeles Rams game was basically carried by special teams and defense. So, yeah, your defense can be good, your special teams can be good, maybe you improve in the running game, stuff like this. But without Tua elevating his game in these games, you have no chance of beating these good teams in the AFC that you have to beat. It's necessary this year to get to the playoffs and to exceed your 8.5 win total. And that's not even really getting into the nitty-gritty of when the lights have been brightest at the end of the season, when you have to win this game to get to the playoffs. Tua has played his worst football throughout his young NFL career. He stunk versus the Titans last year, obliterated, embarrassed, and he was awful versus the Buffalo Bills in his rookie season in order to get the Dolphins to the playoffs. These 2 games are extremely concerning if I'm a fan, because you know that the Dolphins, they're not going to be 12-5 at the end of the year. They're going to be scratching and clawing to make the playoffs. And I could very well see one of these games once again at the end of the year versus a good team to make the playoffs. I could very well see a Carson Wentz-like performance versus Jacksonville in December, early January to miss the playoffs. And that would put all of this great roster to absolutely no use. So this leads me to next season, the schedule that the Dolphins face next season, and why I'm preaching the poor play versus great teams, because you look at the home and away schedule and the opponents. At home, You face the Bills, you face the Patriots, you face the Vikings, Packers, Browns, Steelers. Then away, the Bills, the Patriots, the Bengals, the Ravens, the Chargers, the Niners. That's 6 playoff teams from 2021, and that's 9 teams that I would project at this moment to make the playoffs. 9. That is half of your schedule versus projected playoff teams. That is a lot. Now, to give this a positive spin for the moment here, if you're a Dolphins fan, you're looking at the offensive line and probably saying, with a better offensive line, with better protection, Tua will be a better quarterback and therefore will be a better offense, and therefore we can compete with these good teams. And that is totally understandable, and that does make sense. Now, looking at it, 19th in adjusted sack rate actually isn't all that bad last year. There were teams at a lot worse rate. But, okay, 2.1 time to throw, which was the fastest in the NFL. So obviously the time to throw and the sack rate, similar. There's correlation there. On top of the grades being pretty poor for the offensive line, speaks to a bad offensive line overall. Your scheme is protecting the offensive line by getting rid of the football, but your scheme is also protecting your quarterback by getting rid of the football because he's a little bit limited as a player and a limited passer. So you hope that you're better on the offensive line, but will it lead to better, more sustainable, efficient offense is the true question. Looking at the Dolphins' offensive line individually across the board, we can formulate how much better the Dolphins will be at protecting the quarterback and at allowing less pressure position by position. At the left tackle position, they were 4th in left tackle pressure last year. That should be fixed. As long as Armstead is around and he is healthy, which is a question, but as long as he is healthy, you should be good there. You should be very much improved there, which should help that left side of the offensive line. Left guard, you were actually not that bad. 23rd at allowing pressure at the left guard position. That's better, but I mean, it's not really a huge difference. Even bringing in Connor Williams, if he is going to be good for you. 10th at center is already solid. 36th at right guard is really good. So that didn't have to be fixed. Right tackle, 2nd in pressure percentage. That's awful. So that is still not fixed. Maybe you fix that in the draft or throughout the rest of free agency, but that is a big time concern still. So right tackle is still going to be an area of huge deficiency. But for the rest of the offensive line, it looks to be a lot better. It looks to be improved. And then you talk about the 30th in adjusted line yards from a year ago, running the football, and that should be improved as well when you really formulate that scheme along with the new players that have been added to this offensive line. So that should be a really positive thing for you. But my problem is that simply Tua, to me, is not the guy. And I've been saying this for years. And Dolphins fans are not going to believe me ever, and that's okay. But the Dolphins will never have a ton of success with Tua because it's been clear throughout the first couple of years that they try to help him as much as possible, and he simply is incapable of delivering for this football team. I'm not trying to be a hater here, but I am asking Dolphins fans, Dolphins media, the front office of Miami, open your eyes. Why would a Patriots fan be telling you this? Like, come on, man. I'm trying to help you here. And I'm your division rival. But you look at Tua. Last year, 4.8 turnover-worthy play percentage. 4th worst in the NFL. That's atrocious. 2.4 big-time throw percentage. 6th worst in the NFL. Bad. Which means he doesn't make a lot of big-time throws. He doesn't make a lot of plays. He tries to give the ball away while not making many big plays. The last 2 seasons, he was 25th and 31st in PFF grade. All of this despite the Miami Dolphins running more RPOs than any team in the NFL, running a above average rate of play action. He gained the most yards from RPOs in the NFL from any starting quarterback and the 14th most yards from play action. They were helping him already. Thinking that Mike McDaniel's scheme coming in here and helping Tua is going to be the saving grace and is going to elevate him to this above average rate and this elite quarterback status, that's just a dream. It's not going to happen because Miami was already doing things to help Tua in this offense by allowing him to run more RPOs than anyone else, to use play action at a heavy rate. So yes, Dolphins fans, for many of you, this is the season that we figure out if Tua is your guy. But I'm already telling you, I already know what's going to happen. I'm here to state right now, the Dolphins will disappoint this season. They will not live up to expectations. I'm sorry to tell you that they probably won't make the playoffs. If they do, they're a first-round exit. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that you're putting too much pressure on a rookie coach who's replacing a very good coach, and you're putting a team, a talented one, around a subpar starting quarterback that you're expecting to elevate through offensive line play and through coaching. And it makes sense, but you've already tried. And I just feel like in this loaded AFC, there are teams that will disappoint. They will underwhelm. And the Miami Dolphins are absolutely the team that comes top of mind as the team in the AFC that will disappoint. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. It's Mitch. Thank you guys for watching this video. I don't mean to be a hater here. I absolutely do not. I'm telling you the truth. But this is just how I feel, and I give my opinions. And if you enjoy NFL opinions on all teams in the NFL, all 32, don't forget to spike the like button and subscribe to the channel for more BLV just like this. It's Mitch. We'll see you in the next video. Peace.